Hey everybody, I am so excited about our sponsor for this month, the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. It's the Gillette Home Team and Laura Gillette. How are you doing, Laura?
I'm doing wonderful.
That is so awesome. You know, the Gillette Home Team is doing so much in real estate. Give us a snapshot of what you're up to.
Awesome. Well, last year we were able to help 551 families either buy or sell real estate. We love our community. We love our clients. Our mission is to deliver the keys to home ownership through stellar customer service, integrity, and joy. And we're looking to help even more folks this year.
That is so awesome. You know, if you want a team that is there for you, it's the Gillette Home Team and Laura Gillette. And thanks so much, Laura, for your sponsorship. Good morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. It is a great morning today. How are you doing, Scott?
It's a chilly morning, but I tell you, with our guest today, there is no way anyone who is got any chills or any sleep in their eyes are going to be able to stay that way. You're going to warm up. It's going to be hot.
Hot. Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to warmer temperatures outside too. It's really great out there. It's just really chilly here in Oregon.
Hey, the daffodils are up and the crows are blooming, so it's beautiful out.
Yes, it is. It is, you know, a beautiful day in Oregon. I love the cool, crisp weather. So I am so excited. You know, the first guest that we're bringing on today, Lionel Wilson. What a great friend. What a great guy, and all that he is doing. And I was just so excited to have him on the show. So I think without you and I chatting any longer,
let's do it.
Other than first, we want to remind people, number one, make sure and interact with us. Give us your comments as we are going with the show. We love to interact with you. And also don't forget, this happens every Wednesday at 7 a.m., the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And without any further ado, we're going to jump to Lionel, bring him right in. Here we go. Woo-hoo. Hello, Lionel.
Hey there, Russ, Scott. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, man.
It is so great to see you this morning. I'm guessing you know our sponsor just a little bit, huh?
Yeah, that was interesting. I'm sure it didn't work out on purpose that way. But yeah, this, gosh, I've been in real estate for about 15 years. And then I recently made an adjustment. I partnered up with Laura Gillette and her team, #1 team in Oregon. So yeah, very excited about that.
Yeah, she is, phenomenal. And obviously you had a lot to do with that when you were leading the team, bringing her in. And she's our sponsor all month long. So she's been incredibly awesome. And so you and I are going to have to talk more about that news that you just said. But why don't you give us a little snapshot into what's going on in Lionel's world?
Well, so I am really enjoying just working with people around the United States, primarily around the area of mindset, human potential. And, I've been doing real estate for 15 years, loved that, loved working with people. And, about 4 years ago, I turned 50. Remember that, Russ?
Yes, I do remember. Thank you.
Yeah. So when I turned 50, I made a decision and I said, I really want this year to be significant. It's my 50th year and I want it to really matter. Not that you want all years to matter, but it's that significant 50th year. And there's a book called The One Thing. I think you guys are both familiar with that book.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Keller wrote it, and he has a focusing question in there that is, what's the one thing that I could do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? And it's great. You can ask that question in your marriage, in your finances, in your relationships, in your spirituality. You can ask it in anything. And I asked it during my 50th year. What's the one thing I could do during this year such that by doing it, everything else would become easier or unnecessary? And my answer became to study the mind. If I could study the mind at a really deep level and understand myself better, that would affect everything in my life. It would affect my relationships in my community, with my wife, with my kids, with God, with everything. So that's what I did. And once I spent that year, I just made that decision at that point. That's the reason the real estate started not being as strong as an appeal to me because I loved this that much more. So that's what I'm up to now, is I'm spending my days working with people around the United States and helping them grow their mindset and just really focus on an abundant mindset, because that's how we're designed.
And Lionel, being live is not new to you.
No, I do quite a bit of training and coaching. Yeah, that's true.
Tell us about that. Tell us about what's going on with your live. What are you doing? Who are you reaching? And what are you saying?
Well, mostly I am running it through my private Facebook group, and I'm teaching all around mindset. And I guess if I was to pick one area that I think is probably one of the most important areas, would be the area of the image that we're holding in our mind of ourselves. So we think in pictures. Everything gets created twice, right? You got this fancy phone here. You know, can you believe phones are $1,000 nowadays? $1,200, crazy. But we've got this computer that also makes phone calls, and somebody thought this up in their mind. Somebody created it first in their mind, and then now we have this tool that we can use, StreamYard, this whole thing that you're running right now. Somebody thought it up in their mind, and then it came to pass. I mean, if you'd have thought about this 100 years ago, people would have said you're crazy, that this would never happen. So we create pictures in our mind, and we have a visual or a picture of the way that we see ourselves. And if that's not proper, if it's not correct, that is the direction that we're going to go. So to me, that's one of the most important things, is getting that image correct, because, you know, we've had a lot of stuff in our life, in our past, that creates those pictures. So for example, when I was young, mom and dad divorced when I was like 4. Then there was just a bunch of junk in the family, a lot of drugs and abuse and all this kind of stuff that goes on. Well, that forms a picture in your mind. Picture a kid on the playground, and that always gets picked last, right? They always get picked last for kickball or whatever. Well, that creates a picture in that child's mind. You know, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. People don't want me. I get rejected. And then it carries on in there. And in this information resides in the subconscious portion of their mind. So they're not even thinking about it, but all of a sudden people are finding themselves like self-sabotaging. They keep moving up, but then they drop back down. Well, this is the ultimate reason, is that they've got this picture in their mind of who they are, and they need to shift that picture so that they can really recognize who they are and all of the God-given abilities that they have within them and function in that. So that was a lot real quick, but I think, Lionel, this is what I love about you, Lionel. So he is my good friend that I always tell him to give me the Reader's Digest of all the information you know, because he's so smart. He's much smarter than me, and he gives me the snapshot of great stuff and keeps me on my toes. And we are both huge on mindset. And speaking of great minds, we're going to bring in another great mind right now. Wendy Glavin's coming in the house. Hey, Wendy.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
From New York City. Wendy is here.
Yes.
Coast to coast. Coast to coast.
So
what's going on in your world, Wendy?
I just wanted to add to what Lionel said. I completely agree with you, Lionel. A book. I'm sure you've read Carol Dweck's Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. And she talks about 2 mindsets. One is fixed and one is growth. And a fixed mindset. I love this example because I have 3 grown boys, 29, 27, 22. It's that they give an example of students in school who, let's say, get a C in math, and then they think, oh, I suck at math. So the ones with a fixed mindset say that I suck at math. I'm just no good at math. And like you say, Lionel, then that's carried through the rest of their life. The growth mindset is that, oh, I can meet with the professor and at least try to, get other assignments and pull my grade up. So it's important. I agree with you. It's important to have a growth mindset. Sort of going on those same lines, during the pandemic, I wanted to figure out a way to help people realize that they're more than the job they do or did, more than the money they make, their gender, their age. And so I created a new process. It's called Decode Your Value. And when people talk a lot about, look forward, this is the reverse. This is look back to identify your core values, your significant experiences throughout your life, your background, your relationships, your interests. And so you'll find common patterns and transferable skills to move you forward. And I actually have an illustration. I know it's weird, but my team sent this to me, but it's called a life skills tree. So at the bottom, this is my life skills tree, which is my values, like honest, authentic, creative. And then these are the branches on the tree that all sort of get intertwined. Like I have, I do B2B communications, marketing agency owner, entrepreneur, but then it ties in with marriage, children, New York City, social media, divorce. So, it kind of all ties together. And I think and also back to what Lionel said, perception is the key to reality. So in terms of looking at my core values and thinking of my core values, to make sure, Lionel, that how I feel is how I'm perceived, is I asked a few people, can you please use a couple adjectives to describe me, right? So here's an example of where you get a description and you can sort of, I don't want to use the word spin, right, because I'm in marketing, but kind of repackage it. So my 27-year-old son said, okay, well, you're really aggressive. And then a friend of mine said, yeah, I agree. She's really aggressive. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to put aggressive. So I switched that word to confident. So it's also like, so your point about, how you're perceived is really important. So, yes, the level of confidence, let's say, I mean, not all the time, of course, but, can go on a scale of either, being aggressive. So for example, knowing that, I'll try to, hone it in, I guess, when I'm trying to kind of prove a point. So I'm trying to help people realize this. And I'd like to use my son, the same son. So he was working for Marvel. He's in entertainment. He was furloughed. And he thought to himself, what do I really love to do? And he was an English major. And he is in entertainment, and that's his field. So he ended up doing a lot of writing. And he self-published his first book in August. And, I have a full service agency, marketing, PR, social, digital media, executive writing, that sort of thing. So we kind of teamed together like mom and son, and did some Zoom book launches. And one of his big dreams was to get in the New York Post. And I promise you, I don't know anyone at the New York Post, but I just wrote to the specific editor, and it has to do with growing up in Manhattan private schools, scandals, and all that kind of stuff. So she writes back when you see an editor write back immediately, you're like, oh my God. So she said, is this your son? And I said, yes. And she said, could you tell me the real schools he went to? And I said, why don't I put you in touch with him? So got a big spread in the New York Post. The amount of people that called him and me, you must have known someone. You must have a connection. I said, no, I don't have a connection. It's getting the right.
You did have confidence.
That's
and right. Confidence
is. Why don't I say confidence in my son?
Well, and there's two levels of competence, of being competent, right?
I thought you said confident.
Well, of competence, there's two levels of competence. One is confident, and the other is arrogant. And confident people give, and arrogant people take.
That's a good thing.
Russ, bring us together here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that's a really good point, because what I love that she was talking, though, in the confidence is having confidence in her son and in her family. And Lionel, you know all about families working together because you worked with your family for years now. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
Well, working with family, I think, is a total blessing and a challenge at the same time. So, I mean, working with people, we have just different personalities and stuff like that. But I think when you're working with your family, you have to you have to separate a little bit in the way that you work, because I've always been the same person. Like if you see me at church, or if you see me in the community, or if you see me doing my work, I'm the same person that I always am. So and when you're working with family, there's just that line, because we're gonna be at work, and you have expectations and things like this, and then you also sit at the kitchen table and have conversations. So I think for us, we just try to balance that, where like when we're at the dinner table, we're at the dinner table, we're having fun, we're enjoying each other's presence, and leave the work at the door. That has served us well. It didn't work that way in the beginning, because we're always talking about it, and we realized there needs to be a break. We need to separate the relationship.
When you like what you do,
yeah,
I mean, that's what you like to talk about it, right?
That's
I mean,
right.
you want to share those experiences, and so that is the challenge, right? Because you're like, but this is what I like to do.
Yeah, no, that's exactly correct, because you love it, so it's just natural. It's like my wife and I, we tease that everything's a write-off for us, because I don't care where we go, what we're doing, we're talking about business, because it just intertwines within our relationship. So everything's a write-off.
I just think it's such a blessing to be able to, I mean, it's a hard dynamic sometimes to be able to work with family. And Wendy, you obviously, with this, it was kind of a forced hand, but your son was able to come in and work with you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was a forced hand. I like that description. He's a self-described introvert. And, you know, he hadn't done Zoom sort of things. He's more behind the scenes. So I said, we have to, because he needed to sell 280 books to make back his money. So I said, okay, well, we have to do a Zoom book launch. It's like, well, I don't really want to do that. It's like, well, that's too bad. Like, we have to do it. So it more like, I did it more like mom and son. Like he said, you know, people ask, like, how do you feel about publishing your first novel? And then I would like lift it up and be like, look, here it is. You know what I mean? Sort of the mom, that kind of thing. Then made him do a Facebook live event. And he was like, I don't have Facebook. I don't do Facebook. So I said, okay, we'll do it on my Facebook. Anyway, so all of this led to him selling like 1,000 copies. And that's a lot for a self-published writer. And, you know, Lionel, I want to add to your point also. So my family are my 3 grown boys. That's who my family is. But I have, if you remember the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'm aging myself. But I have phone a friends. So one of my phone a friends is in my ex-husband. And one of the areas in which I work is financial services. So when I have questions about finance, right, or real estate or global politics or, you know, et cetera. So phone a friend is Jim Glavin, my ex-husband. I'm sure he wouldn't be happy me speaking about it. And then I have other phone a friends where, you know, I have attorney phone a friends. So, you know, it's like, I think it's important to know what you know what you don't know. And then, you know, don't be afraid to go ask people, you know, for questions of expertise in different areas in which you don't. And then that helps you to, you know, keep learning. Like, I think that we can learn from everyone. And your other point, Lionel, about dealing with family, like I had to learn, you know, as a mother of 3 boys, to speak to them differently. You know, they have different personalities. And so I've had to make that adjustment over the years because, you know, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but why don't I say when I was a younger mom, I was a bit controlling. So that doesn't work. You know, that's not going to work. So, you know, I've really pulled back and kind of let them talk more and like maybe make a suggestion and say it's your decision in the end, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's important to, I think, moderate or modify how we speak to people. It's almost like you have a crystal ball in your head. Like if you know that the person, you know, gets defensive or doesn't like speaking about, let's say, politics or religion or something. So stay away from those topics because in the end, the relationship is more important than being right all the time.
Yeah.
And the way we say things is very important because you were talking about that TV show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And I thought it was, who wants to be a millionaire?
I think a lot of times that's true. And Wendy, I was going to say to your point that I think it's really important to learn that dynamic with whoever you're working with. And we all are lifelong learners, learning and growing, right? In everything that we're doing. If we're not growing, we're dying. So we need to be moving forward. And when it comes to family, it just adds that extra element in there of little bit, something you have to deal with a little bit extra. So, hey, Lionel, I was going to ask you before we move on too much on the mindset and the moving forward. Let us know what you're up to in that area. Don't you have some workshops or things going on right now?
Yeah, I do. I actually have a class starting in 2 weeks, and it's really on abundance and a quantum leap, understanding what a quantum leap is and how that can work in our life. We get this idea that I have to go from one, if I'm going up a ladder, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's not the way it needs to be. That's the way that we're programmed to think, that we have to take the next step. And we don't have to do that. We can go from 1 to 5 to 25. And when people see things like that happen, they're like, holy cow, what just happened? Well, the reality is, if you think of a iceberg, you've got that little piece sticking up the top, and you got all this happening down below. And when a quantum leap happens, people are doing certain things in a certain way that's causing that, because God's put laws in place in this universe. And if if I drop this pin, it's going to fall to the ground every time. And there's other laws that if you follow those, you're going to get a certain result. So you have cause and effect, and we want to be in the place of creating the cause, and the effect is going to happen. If I throw the ball against the wall, it's always going to come back to me. So I'm doing that, and I do it live in my Facebook group, which is Winner's Mindset for Small Businesses. Winner's Mindset for Small Businesses. Yeah, that's what it's called. Well, I changed it. I was doing it just for real estate agents, and then I moved it, and I was like, well, I want to open that up. I was just focusing on real estate agents, and I was like, well, I want to open this up to small business owners as well. But yeah, as far as connection goes, I'll just share this one little piece. I've got this made this little guy here. When we think about the mind, I said earlier, we think in pictures, but if I said, picture your car, you got a picture of it. If I said picture your refrigerator, you see it in your mind. But if I say picture the mind, there's like a blank. Most people have no idea because they've never seen the mind, or they have a picture of the brain, which the brain is just the electrical switching station.
The brain and the mind are very different. Yes.
Yes. So we don't have a picture for it. And there was a doctor that actually created a picture back in 1934. And what he did is he created this picture. And what he did was, just for illustration's sake, we would make this top part here represent the mind, and this lower part, you see it's like a stick man, represent the body. And when you understand that this top part represents the conscious mind, and this lower part represents the subconscious mind. And then let me just finish this point here is, if I realize this, that in the conscious part of my mind, my results are coming, I'm getting about somewhere between 1 and 5% of my results are coming from my conscious mind. This is where all the programming happened in the subconscious. This is where 95 to 99% of my results are coming through my body and giving me my results. So understanding that, so that's one of the things that I'm going to be talking about, but and just try to keep it really simple, is when I'm thinking about relationships, this is how I see every person I'm talking to. When I look at somebody and I'm having a conversation, I realize they've got this stuff that they can choose and make decisions in the conscious mind, but in the subconscious mind, what Wendy was talking about, that's where all the fixed is. The fixed is right here in the subconscious. So when I'm talking to somebody and we're talking about relationships, and you get somebody caught up like, oh, I don't like money. I don't need money. That is a subconscious belief that they have about money. Like, oh, people with money, like filthy rich, those kind of terms. You were talking about that, Scott, terms. the film Filthy Rich implies that being wealthy or rich is a filthy bad thing. You know, money doesn't grow on trees. That's a fixed idea. Like, hey, money's hard to come by. You know, you have to go to college in order to succeed. Well, I'm all about education, but I don't believe that. It's clearly not true that you have to graduate from college. So all these fixed things in our subconscious mind dictate the majority of what we actually accomplish in this world. So that's the class, I guess.
Fabulous.
So I was going to say, Lionel, why don't you tell everybody, because there's so much more information. We're going to bounce back to you, Wendy, too. Before we do that, though, tell people how they contact you and how they get involved with that. But then Wendy will bounce back to you.
Probably the best way, honestly, to reach me is on my Facebook page, just Lionel Wilson, if you search me. And then my that group is probably the best way. It's just a Facebook group that's Winner's Mindset for Small Business Owners is what it's called. That's probably the best way to reach me. All
right. Excellent. Perfect. And Wendy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, Lionel, you're talking about the subconscious being, and me saying it's fixed. It's not fixed. My whole point is when you look back at your background, your experiences, your relationships, your interests, you become more aware. You uncover the different things in your life, like all the threads. So it's not fixed. In my situation, in what I'm speaking about with Decode Your Value, it's not fixed versus growth. It's all growth in relation to what you're speaking about. So I just wanted to clarify that.
I'm saying that it's locked in. It's a belief that's locked in and you don't have a decision. That those things happen automatically. Like when I get up in the morning.
Yeah, sorry. I'm saying what I'm trying with what I'm doing, which is different than you're doing, is decode your value, which means look within yourself and go through and think about your life skills, not your hard and soft skills, your life skills. And that's what you bring into all the work that you do. So this is a little bit of a different area, Lionel. Sure. So I'm a 30-year marketing communications veteran. I'm a full service agency owner, a published writer, technology columnist, and global speaker. I write a lot about Decode Your Value because I started this during the pandemic to help people realize, like, you're enough, you know, who you are. Okay. And you can look at your passions and you can take side steps like my son did. He's an example of, to me, that's really inspirational. So, you know, it's about uncovering your common patterns and transferable skills to be able to move forward. For example, I have a passion for technology and I've always been a writer. So I combined the two, became a technology columnist. So you can combine what's called complementary skills to create a third skill that you can use moving forward. So to get in touch with me, my agency is Wendy Glavin Agency. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can email me directly at Wendy Glavin. That's Glavin, no E, and no, I'm not related to Tom Glavin. WendyGlavin.com, Wendy at WendyGlavin.com. And I'm in New York City and, you know, would love to speak to you and help. And I'm here.
That's so awesome. You know, next time I'm in New York, I'm going to say, where's Wendy? Where's Wendy? I love to visit that city.
You wherever you are.
That's great. That's
great.
Russ. Yes.
Before we finish up, I do want to, there's another class that I have coming up that I love. This is called QL, Quantum Leap. And this one is designed, I'm doing this for ages 14 to 18. Or 13 to 18, I guess, 13 to 19. So teenagers. But it's a one day. It's really a free course. I'm doing it on the 20th of this month. It's on a Saturday, and it's free. Basically, it's a nonprofit is what it is that I teach this, and really giving the young people resources and understanding of the way that their mind works and setting goals and putting a plan in place to get to where they want to go. If I had this when I was a kid, amazing. But anyway, same thing. They could reach out to me the same way if they want to know more about that, or if somebody has kids that would love to go through something like that.
Awesome. That is wonderful. Thanks for investing into our future.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. That's exactly what it is.
Well, as we wrap up today, we appreciate you both so much. Always love to chat with both of you. You've got you're both a wealth of information, doing awesome things. I think we can all agree that we are moving forward with a positive mindset and doing crazy good things. And so I think that is this has been wonderful to have you guys on, and I appreciate you both so much.
Well,
Thank
thanks.
you, Lionel. And Lionel, congratulations on all your success.
Well, thank you. And Wendy, great to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to send you two out to the green room. Hang tight. We'll be right with you. Thanks again. And Mr. Scott.
Well, I tell you, that the mindset is so important. There's research out of the University of Texas at Austin, and it was talking about this mindset, especially about this mindset of abundance and scarcity. And so when you have a mindset of scarcity, there's winners and losers. But when you have a mindset of abundance, there's winners and winners. And I think that's where we all want to be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's crazy, because that is my word of the year, is abundance. Because I feel like we all live in God's abundance, and I am moving forward with that mindset. I just wanted to throw a quick thing out there. I have a workshop this month. Just a limited time workshop, Purpose to Profit, 5 simple steps to being more productive and profitable. And so if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me at russhedge.com. That's the easiest way. And that'll be run through my Facebook group, but just reach out to me at russhedge.com. Scott, did you have anything coming up you want to throw out?
I just want to talk about tomorrow. We also have the Experience Plus coming.
That's right.
With Alexandra Watkins, talking about naming. She's got a book. She's got a course out. And if you've ever been to Wendy's and had a Baconator, she named that product. And so her company is called Eat My Words. So I'm excited to also spend some time with Alexandra and have that experience tomorrow. The Experience Plus.
She's awesome. I talked to her on the phone yesterday, and that's at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow on the Experience Plus. So if you have time, then come join us. And Scott, thanks so much again. We appreciate everybody. Until we see you again, don't forget, we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Have an awesome day. We'll see you later.
Cheers.